Hi everyone, today is January 9th, 2021. This is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger, and notably, this is the 200th episode of this podcast. Going on almost 4 years of it. I think we're still short 2 months, because it was, episode 208 would be the 4th anniversary, but this is the 200th episode, which deserves a shout out. I'm not sure how many unsuccessful podcasts have gone on for so long, so I do want to thank everyone who has stuck through with my efforts in the last 4 years to document the game that is Duel Links. Yeah, thanks to everyone for listening. Let's move on. So, this week, what do we have? We have the Shark Attack event. That's the main PvE thing going on. If you haven't acquired Shark, this is the chance to get him. You have 2 new cards and also a new duel skill. Not a ton going on in the game itself, but we're going to go over the rest of the notable cards from Infinite Ray Box. We're going to do a deep dive into Noble Knights. Noble Knights have shot up in popularity in esports, as I will detail. So pretty much just trying to introduce you to how to build Noble Knights and how to play it. It's a very tricky deck to play, but hopefully that is helpful. And yeah, that's it. My week in Duel World, I've been playing Noble Knights. That's why I do feel like talking about them in the deck deep dive. And I've gotten to Legend 1. Of course, the problem is getting in the time to do it all. And I probably would be in a higher rank, but I just hit Legend 1 yesterday with the limited games put in. And really, according to Duel Links meta in the community of people getting the King of Games, it's mostly Noble Knights this month. So let's look at the current month. It's definitely dominating the tournament scene. Yes, so there's 242 King of Games, and 65 of them are Noble Knights. In the tournament scene, 36. So it's not the most successful, because Thunder Dragons are also tied with Noble Knights in the tournament scene, but in regular King of Games PvP, they are in first place. So it's kind of driving them up. Yeah, so it's worth talking about them. And the version I play, of course, if you've been following, is one that only has 2 copies of Merlin and also the trap card. So it's kind of a budget-friendly version, because I didn't feel like spending $7 on that last buy-through of the box, the structure deck. So yeah, we'll talk about this deck later. And I've been really slogging through the Shark Attack event. Like, I don't think I farmed it once. Like, I've just been double, like times 2 at the gate, or doing the random encounters. Like, I'm cutting it close of getting all the rewards. I did get a 3rd copy of the Nightmare Shark, so I just need a Depth Shark. I just got the fully armored Black Ray skill, so I am cutting it close, but hopefully I can get all the gems associated with the event. I need to grind it out a little bit today. Alright, let's talk about esports. Duel Links Meta Weekly 158. We see the rise of Noble Knights here. Really, before this week, it was Desperados. I think they were first, and all of a sudden it clicked, and Noble Knights and Thunder Dragons are here. First place, Choo Choo, Balance Gookie. So tournaments are pretty much micro metas, and what's interesting to see here is, well, Gookies use Necro Valley. That's their core. That's half of their spells, so they're guaranteed it half the time, pretty much. And the notable tech here is a trap card, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, which is a card that has been in the meta in the past when there are a lot of dark monsters, and I think we're seeing a shift here. This is a signal of that. And if you just look at the tournaments themselves, Noble Knights, like half of the monsters are dark. Thunder Dragons, they're dark. Black Wings, dark. Invoked, dark. Ritual Beast probably use Alistair, so it's dark. So, we're shifting back to that. Gookie being a full Earth archetype doesn't really care for that, so they just use it. Yep, I think that's the right call. Second place, Tyrois Balanced Gookie, another Gookie deck. So this one's a little spicier. In addition to Necro Valley, they've put in the spell zones 2 copies of Demise of the Land, which is a quick play which allows when your opponent special summons a monster, you select the field spell from your deck and activate it. So this can allow you to play Necro Valley straight from the deck, which was a great disruption against enemy plays and using the graveyard and all that stuff. So I really like this tech. If you do have enough cards to play Gookies, this is the one I would play. Just quick playing Demise of the Land into Necro Valley, that would be great for climbing the ladder. Top 4, Myth Yard Balanced Noble Knights. So we see a new version of Noble Knights, and it's not dramatic. You just have to see what has changed, and that's the dropping out of Noble Knight Brothers. There's no more brothers here, and I'm not sure what the reason is. Brothers is a card. It often hurts you by not being able to attack because it can't attack until there's a full board, and even by then you want to use it as an XZ summon. It is a bit of a win more card because you try to play it and then also cheat out other guys from the deck, from your hand, so you could do an XZ summon right there. Brothers has also found value being a 2400 defender. I've stalled some games with Brothers, but they don't deem it that useful anymore. You see it less and less. So what it is the Noble Knights have cut down on their monsters. There's 11 monsters here. Spells pretty much remain the same, but they've expanded their trap cards. There's 10 traps, 9 spells, and 11 monsters. So this is a trend we're seeing here, and they try to include 3 copies of the trap card here, the Until Noble Arms Are Needed Once Again, and then you just put in your best, core discard trap cards, which here it's 3 Karma Cuts, 3 Raigeki Breaks, and 1 Ballista Squad, which sacrifices a monster. And top 4 waiver, See You Later Ritual Beasts. As I said before, Ritual Beast use dark monsters. This one does not. Pure Ritual Beast deck, no Alistair in it. And this notably has a trap card, Ritual Beast Ambush, which you don't see all the time. Alright, let's move on to Duel Links Entertainment. Damage step number 2. Noble Knights dominating here again, even though a lot of people brought Desperados as well. So Desperados have placed in this tournament. They haven't really, they didn't really crack the top 32 in the Duel Links meta scene. What's interesting, you kind of saw a shift of the dropout of Desperado from this tournament. This one happened earlier in the week. This one to that one. First place, Myth Yard Balanced Noble Knights. He just got top 4 in Duel Links meta. This is the same exact deck. 11 monsters, 9 spells, and 10 traps. Second place, Alinci Balanced Noble Knights. Now this is a bit of an older version of the deck because they have more monsters. Only 6 trap cards, 2 Karma Cuts, 2 Treacherous, 1 Noble Knight Trap. And it's a pretty includes every single monster you would consider. So there is Noble Knight Brothers, and there's also a Noble Knight of Black Lord Salin. This is a card I had in my deck until yesterday, and there were times where I just had it in my hand. Like, it's good for being a 2000 beater, where you could cheat it out with the trap card, but besides that, I don't think it's very good. It does allow a level 5 there without a equip spell, like the Madrot and Boars require an equip on them to make them like a fake level 5. This guy just is a level 5. So there's pros and cons to this card. I can see why people play it. And notable thing about this deck, in addition to the 9 spells, they have 2 Forbidden Lance, which will prevent your guys from getting flipped or disrupted, so they can use their equip effects. So Madrot and Boars don't get disrupted primarily, or Merlin transforming into something that would be disrupted. So Forbidden Lance will prevent that, in addition to nixing whatever your opponent does sometimes. It's less useful now because you see less Alistair. It was pretty good against Alistair. Top 4, Gabriel BOVC, Alternative Evolution Blue Eyes. This is pretty much a core, no-nonsense deck here. 3 White Stone of Ancients, 1 Dragon Spirit of White, 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue, 1 White Stone of Legend, 3 Blue Eyes, 3 Cards of Consonance, 2 Ancient Rules, 2 Raigeki Break, 3 Karma Cuts, and of course the extra deck includes the rank 8 XCs, Hieratic, Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. And top 4, Trap Dexter, Balanced Noble Knights again. Similar to Mythyard's deck, we got 12 monsters here, 3 copies of Boars, Paleozoic Canadias in the trap zones. Fewer discard traps. There's 3 Karma Cuts here. I'm not really sure the reason for this, but you could still use Paleozoic Canadia fine in this deck. Alright, so that brings us to the power rankings. Of course, the Duel Links meta power rankings are numeric now, so we saw the rise of Noble Knights here. They pretty much shot up about 3 points. They were in the back of Tier 1, or they were number 2, I forget, but they've switched places here, so they're at 15.8. Desperado has fallen down to 14.6. I believe they were at 17, so they've switched places. Thunder Dragons have shot up from Tier 3 all the way to 9.2. I think their power was like about a 4 or 3. May have been in the 3s, because it was in the middle of Tier 3 last week. So it shot up to 9.2 and has placed into Tier 1 according to the power rankings. And Invoke Neos has slipped a little bit to 9.0. Now, Tier 2, we have Blue Eyes at 5.9 and Black Wings at 5.7. Both of these were in the 6s last week. So, just minor slipping here, but we're seeing them fall a little bit. I think Black Wings are 5.7, yeah. Blue Eyes are 5.9. So, they're getting close to 5. They still have a little bit of a stranglehold at Tier 2, but we could see kind of some shuffling into, like the Tier 3 decks could possibly sneak into Tier 2, but we saw Thunder Dragons just barrel through Tier 2 and not even be there, so they've shot up completely. Tier 3, we have most of these decks falling. Witchcrafters falling to 4.3, Cyber Dragon falling to 3.6. Gukia have shown up, though. Gukia were not on the list before. They have shown up at 3.3. Ritual Beasts falling at 2.9. Heroes falling minor at 2.8. And then some previous Tier 3 decks have completely fallen off. That are Triamids, Weather Painters, and Fire King. Of course, they could just show up again next week if they have a decent showing in the tournaments or people hit King of Games with them, but that is not the case as of now. So, get into deep dive of Noble Knights, pretty much explaining what that deck is all about. Welcome again to another edition of the Deck Deep Dive. And this is, we haven't done these in a while because of primarily laziness, but I feel motivated today to talk about Noble Knights. They are a deck I've played before they got revamped in Duel Links. I'm not sure if I ever hit King of Games with them, but they were always fun to play. And now the structured deck has been out about a month now, and let me see when these cards came out. November 30th, yeah, over a month. So, it's kind of strange that they haven't gotten to the top yet. They've been in the tier list quite a bit, but they haven't really beaten Desperado Battle Dragons or other decks in the meta. But with the new box, we saw the addition of 2 new cards. Infinite Ray has 2 new cards added to Noble Knights, which is very small, but it is a game changer in terms of the Xyz monster at least. So we're going to talk about how you build a Noble Knights deck, what the monsters do, which ones you should consider, all that stuff. So, just to start, Noble Knights are dudes with swords who activate abilities based on that. Before the structure deck came out, that's all they were. So they weren't. They had one synchro monster, but it wasn't even good at all. So I think they had a card that was a tuner, a Lady of the Lake or something. She was a tuner, and that deck didn't go far at all. It was pretty hard to hit King of Games with that deck. So they didn't really do anything in the synchro department. And now that Xyz are here, and they put in these Xyz monsters, just generic ones, also exclusive Noble Knight ones, because Noble Knight Xyz monsters are pretty exclusive. So it made it so that you had to play Xyz with Noble Knights, and this has brought them up to the top. And like I mentioned before, with Infinite Ray, we have the addition of a new Xyz monster in addition to the other monster, and with all the control traps available, that has made this deck pretty good. So I know the structure deck was widely lauded because it included some of the core cards, so you didn't have to go through Crusaders Battlegrounds to buy it, even though I did. So in terms of the monsters, there's some that are pretty core and some that are optional. Depends what you want to do and how much space you have, I guess. So Noble Knight Madrot, this is the main worker, I guess. I like to call them workers. There's 2 workers in the deck, but this has always been the best Noble Knight monster. You try to equip him, get someone else from the deck who is going to be Boars most of the time, or if you're playing control, it's going to be Dryston or Pelennor, and you equip that spell. You destroy the equip, get that monster out in defense, and then equip it to them. With that, you try to get more equip spells with Boars, or you want to control the board with Dryston or Pelennor. And Madrot is one of the ones that changes levels and attributes. So without an equip, he's a light level 4. With an equip, he's a dark level 5. So there's some flexibility of the rank 4 or rank 5 XC summon with him. And yeah, the main worker of the deck. That's all I have to say. So getting into that discussion, Boars is the other worker of the deck. And Boars plays a very important role. Only a R rarity card from Crusaders of the Battlegrounds, but it's also available in the structured deck. So Boars, when he's equipped with the spell, you search for 3 cards in the deck. They pick 1, and you discard 2. So any Noble Arms equipped spell card. You could reveal any 3 Noble Arms cards from the deck. So they're not the monsters. So it's any of it's your trap card, your Until Noble Arms are needed once again, Noble Arms of Destiny, Noble Arms Gallatin, Noble Arms Caliburn, Arthur and Gwen Hwai Far, Queen of Noble Arms. So basically it has to have Noble Arms in the name, which is a little confusing because Glory of the Noble Knights, the quick play does not count in the fetch. So you're going to search for 3, and it's going to be those cards. Gwen Hwai Far, Arthur Caliburn, Gallatin, Destiny, and the trap card. So you search for 3, and they pick 1. Now the play, I believe, is you pick either Gwen Hwai Far and 2 of the trap card. If you're running 3 of the trap card, you might as well pick all 3 of them. Or you could I like that split of Gwen Hwai Far and those 2. Now, you're doing it the second time, you could kind of pick what equip spell you want. So you could pick, Arthur Caliburn, Gallatin, or Noble Arms of Destiny, depending on what the situation is. With boars, just like Madrot, light level 4, when equipped, becomes dark level 5. So these two kind of mix and match about what XC's monster you want to play. Now, in terms of the control guys, Driston has been around. Driston, I always mess up the name. Driston doesn't do anything with the levels, but light level 4, whenever an equip spell goes on Driston, target something face up and destroy it. It's always a tricky play when you play Driston because you could destroy himself or some other monster if you do not have Noble Arms of Destiny or Gwen Hwai Far. So sometimes you destroy yourself by accident. It's kind of like when you're learning how to play Noble Knights. You kind of destroy something by accident. But this is a very good card to cheat out from the deck sometimes because let's say you destroy something with an equip spell, you cheat out Driston, and then the equip spell has to go somewhere. So the equip spell goes back on Driston, and you destroy whatever your opponent just played. So it's a very good card to cheat out with the second ability of Until Noble Arms Are Needed once again. Yep, it's a good surprise card, and often your opponent will change their attack and destroy Driston instead, which is a good distraction sometimes. So, yeah, very solid card to have. Now, Noble Knight Pelennor is a new one, is the new addition to Infinite Ray, and it's very similar to Driston, like I mentioned last week. Basically, the effect is not instant, and you get to destroy a equip on this card for a face-up monster your opponent controls. So it's a little more limited. It can't take out a field spell or a continuous trap like Driston would. Now, this card lets you draw a card, though, so you have to decide when you're using each one. I think when you're kind of setting up some kind of control, Pelennor is better, so you could get some card advantage there, but Driston's better for like a surprise situation where something gets destroyed and he takes up an equip spell to counter your opponent. It's kind of like bad aim. Driston acts a lot like bad aim, so also, like Pelennor, like Driston, does not change levels or attributes. Now, Merlin is a spellcaster, and Merlin is a card that is the other chase card, the other buy-through card, more or less, than the trap card. And Merlin becomes any Noble Knight monster. So it could be disrupted, though. You normal summon Merlin, and they flip it face down. He can't do anything about it. So that's when the Forbidden Lance plays come into effect. But Merlin becomes any monster, so you could turn him into Madrot or boars most of the time. And then you can set up the play with Madrot or boars, depending on who you have. And then Merlin, when he's in the graveyard, you can turn an immediate Xyz or Synchro Summon. So like I said before, Synchro Summons in Noble Knights are pretty bad, so you're going to focus on an instant Xyz. And it's going to be a 4 or 5, depending on what you have on the board. Sometimes they won't line up, so you can't do the Xyz summon, unfortunately, but it's a good way to prevent your guys from getting destroyed. They try to destroy them or banish them with Karma Cut. You do the Xyz summon with Merlin. So it's very nice to have Merlin in the graveyard to make them waste their resources or surprise them. Like, let's say you have Merlin and also the trap card in the graveyard. You can activate the trap to get Driston out, and then you Xyz summon with Merlin, and then some equip spells get rearranged, and then you can destroy them with Driston. So it's very, very tricky play. The last monster is Gwen Hwai Far, Queen of Noble Arms. She's basically an equip spell where a light monster gains 300 attack. Oh, everyone gains 300 attack. Light monster has protection. Dark monster destroys things by effect. So, the whole goal of her is just to get fetched by boars, sent to the graveyard, and she comes out of the graveyard, so that's good. To affect levels. So you could turn both of your guys into level 5. So you can do a level 5 Xyz summon. That's her main use. She's a reusable equip spell. Can defend the board to chump block sometimes when you're stuck. So, very useful card. Now, in terms of the spells, there's 3 copies of Glory of the Noble Knights. Oh, I forgot to mention. the other cards that are in consideration. So, um, Noble Knight Brothers is, I just mentioned this, but he can't attack unless there's a full board. And when he's normal summoned, you can special summon 2 Noble Knights from your hand. So it's a way to do an XC summon right there. And he also has an ability, you can once per turn target 3 Noble Knights or Noble Arms in your graveyard, shuffle 3 into the deck, and draw a card. So it's a situational card. It could refill a little bit. Typically, you want the Noble Arms in the graveyard. I guess he can recycle the 3 Noble Knights. Okay, he has a bunch of abilities, I guess. The other card is the Ignoble Knight. That's Ignoble Knight of Blacklawed Salin. 2000 attack. You can send a face-up light normal monster to the graveyard. Special summons from the hand or graveyard. Tribute a Noble Knight monster. Add a Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand. Yeah, so sometimes he clunks up the hand, being your only monster, and you can't do anything about it, which sucks. But good card to cheat out with the trap card, being a 2000 attacker. And in a deck with Ector. So Noble Knight Ector, Dark level 5, 1600, 2000. Banish 2 Noble Knights from the graveyard, special summons from the hand or graveyard. An XZ summon of a Noble Knight monster using this card as material cannot be negated. Also, your opponent can't activate cards or effects when that monster is special summoned. This is another card to consider. The other ones pretty much are not played. Yeah, I think it's safe to say the other ones are not played. Alright, so the spell cards, Glory of the Noble Knights. This is a card that you usually run 3 of, but some decks run 2. Quick play spell. Basically, this helps thin out your deck. Not much to say about it. It seems good. Like it was really good back then, but it's less good now because your board's kind of clunked up. So it doesn't work when you have 2 set cards. There's no space for it. You have to have empty back row or 1 set card. But it lets you pick what equip spells you want to play. So that's a good way to thin the deck. Or it becomes extra discard material at the end. That's one or the other. Now, the Noble Arm equips, there's 4 of them. Arfaduder is the one where you're targeting the back row. Set card. So it could be defense or back row. It could be the main way you control for a back row. Sometimes some decks run Hey Trunate, some decks run Cosmic Cyclone. This could be the only way you target the back row. But it's also it could get passed along. That's a good thing about the Noble Arms. So you play Madrot, play Arfaduder, pop something, get Boars out, switch Arfaduder over, pop something. So it's very good for setting up multiple, like a good round of control. And with Dryston, you can even hit a monster or a field spells face up. So a lot of benefits to that. And yeah. Now, Noble Arms Caliburn, you gain 500 attack, and you can also gain 500 life points. This is a good card for the decks that run Solemn Scolding. So you pretty much gain you gain a lot of life points, because you could do that switch over, you gain 1,000 right there, and then you XE summon, you could gain another 500. So you're gaining life with this card. I would only include 2 of this if you're running the Solemn Scolding deck. Noble Arms Gallatin, gain 1,000. You lose 200 each turn. This is just for beat sticking. That's all I have to say about it. And the best one, Noble Arms Destiny, protection once per turn from battle or card effects. Does not protect against Karma Cut, though. So you could play around with what you have here. This deck I'm looking at runs 10. Usually you run 2 of 1 equip spell. This one runs 2 Arfaduders and 2 Noble Arms of Destiny. So you could go 1 each. I don't think that's really a problem. Some decks run, like I said, Forbidden Lance. That's 2. I'm not against that at all. It's pretty good. Some run Cosmic Cyclone, some run Hey Trunade as the semi-limit. Now, in terms of the trap cards, there's only one core trap card in Noble Knights. That's Until Noble Arms Are Needed Once Again. And this is a card you want to toss into the graveyard with boars. That's kind of the goal of the deck. To toss this away, and then you can special summon monsters at will. Now, when you're not tossing this away and you're using this for card advantage, it draws you cards. It basically excavates cards like scrying, but you get to draw one. So it's a little card advantage if you get to use it that way. Help you rearrange the top of your deck, I guess, and you get to pick what it is, and you know what the next card is as well. So it's good to use it the full way. Fine to dump it and cheat out monsters. So when you're cheating out the monsters, you could do, like, Dryston's a good surprise, like I mentioned before. Madrot and Boars to set up the other plays. Pelennor is not really useful for this, but do it if you want. And like if you're running the Ignoble Knight of Blacklord Salin, it's a good way to get 2,000 attack off as well. So this being able to be activated at any point after that turn is very good. So you could just attack through your opponent's back row, and then when they run out of back row, you can sneak out a monster with this. So this is pretty much what makes the deck as well. Now, in terms of the Xyz monsters, there's 3 core. The other trap cards. So these decks run a lot of. They fill out the rest of the traps: Karma Cuts, Raigeki Breaks, Ballista Squads. What else? Anything that's meta. Paleozoic, Canadia, Floodgate, Treacherous. I run Treacherous. Yeah, any popular trap card. And there's a lot of cards that discard. So Karma Cut, Raigeki Break notably are discard. So, with the card advantage this deck gets, it's fine. You could toss your Noble Arms Are Needed Once Again. You can toss an extra Glory to the Noble Knights. You can toss your Treacherous Trap Holes, things like that. This one runs Drowning Mirror Force, Hallowed Life Barrier, Ultimate Providence. Ultimate Providence works because it's a balanced deck, so definitely many different options. Transmigration Prophecy, of course, so yeah, there's a lot you could do here. Now, in terms of the extra deck, there's 3 core Xyz monsters. So the rank 5, there's only one rank 5. It's Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorigus. Rank 5, 2 level 5 Noble Knight monsters. Basically, this one, when you Xyz summon, you can target 3 equip spells with different names and equip them to this card. Detach an Xyz material, target one other monster on the field, and destroy it. And then when this is destroyed or sent to the graveyard, target a level 4 or higher Noble Knight in your graveyard, special summon it. So, control ability, it can become a beat stick at 2200, 2200. You equip a Caliburn and a Gallatin on it. That's 37, so pretty good. Yeah, this is the boss monster of the deck. Control monster on the board. When this is destroyed, you can special summon something else. Very nice. Rank 4, we have Artorigus, King of Noble Knights. This, once Xyz summon, target 3 equip spells, equip them to this card. Detach an Xyz material, destroy any number of spells and traps up to the number of equip spells you have. So, again, Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorigus destroys a monster. This one can destroy multiple trap cards. This one generally will have fewer attack points, but it starts off at 2,000, 2,000, but, you could get your Gallatin and Caliburn out and become stronger. So, play this when you're pretty much fighting against the back row. Now, the new Xyz is Sacred Noble Knight of King Kustanin, rank 4, 2 or more level 4 Noble Knight monsters. So you could have 2 or 3 here, it doesn't matter. 1,500, 2,500. You can detach any number of materials from this card, target that many cards your opponent controls, return them to the hand. Once destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon a Noble Knight Xyz monster from your extra deck, except for this one. So this is the main removal for anything. You bounce anything. You can bounce one or two, bounce three if you want, and you just send them all to the hand. So it's pretty good removal. This is not going to be much attack because it doesn't have any equip spells on it. It can't get them from the graveyard like the other ones do, so you're pretty much sending things back. And yeah, pretty good removal card. And then when it's destroyed, you can special summon an Xyz monster. So you could get out King Artorigus out. I mean, Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorigus. Has to be a Noble Knight Xyz monster, though. So then, you could fill out your extra deck with anything else. The decks have Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, which is the rank 7. It can make use of King Artorigus when he's done with all his materials. You can have Gaga Samurai. You can have Black Ship of Corn. You can have Diamond Dire Wolf. Utopia. There's a deck that has both the Utopias and Utopia Ray. Ujintai Tsukuyomi. Ubaba General, because the Noble Knights are warriors. Yeah. Evagishki Marrowgeist to help bounce stuff as well. Those are the main options, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, Noble Knights are a pretty good deck. Like I said, I didn't buy the third copy of the structure deck, so I'm playing it cheap. I'm pretty sure I can hit King of Games with this. Yeah, hopefully that helped. Helped your knowledge of Noble Knights, how to play it, and things like that. And hopefully that was helpful. See you next time. Alright, so done talking about Noble Knights. Let's move on to the main event this week, which is Shark Attack. This is the second time you get to get Castle if you haven't gotten him. They also have the cards from last time, which are Shark Stickers and Leviathan Dragon. So we got 2 new cards and also a skill. Also must note that those cards didn't really amount to much, unfortunately. The water deck was like a Great Junior deck or something. That's the main water deck. So unfortunately, those cards are just for collecting right now. The new cards, number 47, Nightmare Shark, rank 3, Water Sea Serpent, 2 level 3 monsters, 2000. When this is special summoned, attach 1 level 3 water monster from your hand or side of field to this card as Xyz material. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Target 1 water monster you control. This turn, that monster can attack your opponent directly. Also, other monsters cannot attack. This is pretty good. It could be a step towards the water aggro deck I really liked. When I saw Sharks cards come out, they were pretty aggressive, but they didn't really do much, but they were just very aggressive. This card could be that card. You get 2000 attack, attach Xyz material, and it can attack directly. So you can use Backup Rider, give it 1500, or Aqua Jet to give it 1000, and then it could hit over 4000 and you can attack directly. So with things like Hey Trunade, Cosmic Cyclone, you could have an OTK here. So I don't know if it's too clunky to do that, but the tools are there. And of course, hand protection exists, so maybe something like Debunk, I don't know, something to counter hand traps is nice, but we have what it takes to do this. And 2 level 3 monsters, like I mentioned, the Shark Stickers, that could be part of the quick Xyz play. There's a lot of Xyz, like quick Xyz cards out there with this new box and the previous boxes we got. So I think something could be here. It's a little ticky-tack, like a little inconsistent, but I think we're at a decent place to make this work as an OTK deck. It won't be the best, but it could work. Like you could just go play Super Heavy Samurai and do it better, but this is more of a challenge. Other card, Depth Shark, level 5 Water Fish, 1400 attack, 0 defense. If you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, this card's attack becomes double its current attack until the end of the turn. This is not really for attacking, because it's during your opponent's turn, becomes 2800, which is it's decent. But you're not defending the board with a monster and attack. What this does do is it's a rank 5, so it can help make a rank 5. So it's like a bootleg Cyber Dragon. You're using a normal summon instead of your special summon. Not the best, but you could combo with the Tricky, for example, and make a rank 5. So this can help towards rank 5. Now the skill you get with Shark is Fully Armored Xyz Black Ray. Place one full armored Black Ray Lancer from outside your deck on top of one Black Ray Lancer or submissible carrier arrow shark you control. This counts as Xyz summon. This skill can only be used once per duel. So this is a fun skill because you get to play a card that's not in the game right now. And you could pick either your Black Ray Lancer or your Shark. But Black Ray Lancer's better. I've talked about it before. It's that 2100 water Beast Warrior, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's a Dark Water Beast Warrior. And you basically detach material to negate the effects of a face-up card. Now, you could just use the skill on that guy, and the full armored Black Ray Lancer has the same stats. Gains 200 attack for each Xyz material, and then when you destroy a monster by battle, you can destroy a spell or trap. Also, when it's destroyed, you can detach all its materials, and then it saves itself. So, there's a few abilities on this card, but it could be like 2700 at the most. So it's not going to be the strongest card, but hopefully you have used the Black Ray Lancer's ability first, and then you use this ability. You could basically use the Black Ray Lancer to debuff them, and then use this to destroy them. You destroy them, situational battle destruction, destroy or spell or trap, so it's assuming it's not back row to counter your attack. Finally, it saves itself from battle destruction by detaching all its materials. Overall, it's not worth it. It's not like a boss monster or anything. It's just there. The fully armored Black Ray. The full armored Black Ray Lancer is just like, it's okay. There's not much more to say about it. You need like a battle destruction, but it could save itself. It's decent, but not amazing, and that's why I won't play it as a skill, if that makes any sense. This week we also get a very important card in the history of Duel, in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is, and that's from Mission Circuit, and that's the Flying Elephant, which is the card that was used to humiliate Bandit Keith. Back then, it didn't really make much sense how it beat the Garnicia Elephantis, but now it has an ability. Level 4 Wind Beast, 1850-1300. Once per opponent's turn, if this card would be destroyed by their card effect, it is not destroyed. Once per turn during the end phase, if that effect was applied this turn, apply the following effect. During your next turn, if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by direct attack, you win the duel. So this is an auto-win card. And basically what it is it has to be on the board. Your opponent has to destroy it by card effect. It's not destroyed. Assuming it survives the rest of that turn, if you can attack directly the next turn with this card, you win the duel. Pretty hard to do, but not impossible. The hardest thing is your opponent has to willingly destroy this by card effect. They have to misplay in some way. Like they activate Treacherous Trap Hole on it or something. Has to be destroyed that way. Can't be you triggering your Treacherous Trap Hole on this guy. So, has to survive that, and then you can remove your opponent's monster, and you attack directly. You win. That's it. So your opponent basically has to goof. I don't like your chances of doing it. but hopefully someone gets it on tape, um, sends it around the world. All right, let's finish off Infinite Ray. To be honest, Infinite Ray doesn't have a ton of good R's and N's. Like, their URs and SRs are good, but I was going through the R's and N's, and it's like they're not that exciting, like frankly. So, what is exciting is the digital bug archetype, though. The digital bugs remind me a bit like the Mayakashis because they have different monsters that can like level up. So they have rank 3 XCs, rank 5 XCs, and rank 7 XCs. And it's not like straightforward. It's not like you can just make them like with different pieces. You have to use a way to level them up in a sense, similar to the Mayakashis. The Digital Bug Scar Radiator is the rank 3 monster. And basically, you detach 2 materials. Target 1 monster your opponent controls, change its battle position, has its effects negated. When this destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can attach that monster to this one as Xyz material. That's a very unique ability in that you're basically stealing them, preventing them from being reused in the graveyard. So it's a nice ability, but this card only has 1800 attack. But you do flip them over to their weak side in defense. Now the rank 5 is Digital Bug Corbage. It involves the level 5 Xe summon, but you can't really do that with the digital bugs because they're all level 3. So what you do is you can detach 2 materials from a rank 3 or 4 insect Xyz. So if your Scar Radiator has not used its ability, you can turn it into the Corbage. And this card, detach an Xyz material, target 1 defense monster your opponent controls, and shuffle it into the deck. Once per turn, if the battle position of a monster is changed, you can attach an insect from your graveyard to this one as Xyz. So this is very nice removal. You have to flip them over to the defense though, so it's pretty good against a set monster. Like Blue Eyes, they set their eggs down, so nice for that ability. Now, Digital Bug Rhino's Bus, level 7. So you're going to need to detach 2 materials from a rank 5 or 6 insect Xyz. So you could do it with the Corbage again. The Corbage has a very nice ability, though. You have to use that material, but if you want to level it up, you can turn it into the Rhino's Bus. It has piercing, 2600 attack. You can detach an Xyz material, destroy the face-up monster your opponent controls with the highest defense, all if tied. So that's interesting. It's a little situational, though, so it's kind of be like against Blue Eyes, where they have the most defense. This card could have more defense than like a Dark Magician, for example. So it's doesn't always work. Now, the digital bugs have like some level 3 monsters: Cocoon Denser, Centibit, and Ladybug, and those will help get them into the Scar Radiator and then the other plays. They have 2 other spells: a field spell, Bug Matrix. All insect monsters gain 300 attack and defense. You can target an insect Xyz you control, attach 1 insect material, a monster from your hand as Xyz material. So basically what this card does is it allows you to use their abilities. You can use the Corbage or the Scar Radiator abilities, and then you can level them up into the next Xyz step. So it's nice for that. And then Bug Signal, quick play. Target 1 insect Xyz you control. Special summon from your extra deck 1 insect monster that is 2 ranks higher, and then you can use that as Xyz material. So this is a way you could cheat it out. You don't have to use those 2 monsters Xyz material. You could just convert it into the next play with Bug Signal. So it's a nice ability. It's a quick play. So you basically use up your materials on that card, and then you can just level it up with Bug Signal instead of tossing those materials to level up the monsters themselves normally. This archetype I faced a little bit I've beaten them every time. I'm sure someone's going to hit King of Games with them eventually towards the end of the month, but right now they're not like a viable tournament deck by any means, but they are fun to play, it seems, and you could definitely beat some people with them in ranked meta. Now, some other cards, number 68, Sanifold the Sky Prison. It's a rank 8 Dark Rock, 2 level 8 monsters, 2100, 2700, gains 100 attack and defense for each monster in the graveyards. Once per turn, detach a material from this card until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard. So, this is like a pseudo Sealed Tombs in a way. Necro Valley, whatever, you lock out their graveyard, and it's pretty strong. It's going to be 100 attack and defense for every monster in each graveyard, so there's a chance this could have really high defense. You might want to attack with this card as well. It is a rank 8 though, so right now the only conceivable way of using this is with Blue Eyes, and Blue Eyes don't even run this card because it's not enough attack compared to Blue Eyes, and Blue Eyes love using the graveyard themselves. That's pretty much what they do. So, unfortunately, this card's not being played because it doesn't fit with Blue Eyes at all. But maybe when something fits with rank 8, it could be okay. Good to have in your pocket. Now, there's a bunch of Star Seraph cards, but there's only one that really does stand out to me, and that's Star Seraph Scout. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one Star Seraph monster from your hand. So, they require 3 monsters, like a 3-monster Xyz overlay to work at all. So with Star Seraph Scepter, you play Scout, Scepter is special summoned, and then you can add Sovereignty from the deck, and then you can play Sovereignty. So that's it. You just need those 3 cards in your set for your Xyz summon. Masked Dragon. This is a known card. It's a floater. Kind of the old ability of floating when it's destroyed by battle. Special summon a monster from the deck with 1500 or less attack. This is specific to dragons though. So, Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda has caught fire recently. And she has the ability of being destroyed by effect. So that makes her a little bit better than anyone else that does float. But this is a bit of the old way of floating. I'm sure it has a use somewhere in a crafty dragon deck. Furry Volt is an interesting card. It's a Karibo monster, basically. You can target one Xyz monster that has material. Detach one material from it. If you do, special summon one Curry Volt from your deck. Cannot be used as synchro material. Very unique card because it gives any Xyz monster the ability to thin the deck. You just make any Xyz monster detach material, play Curry Volt. So it triggers the ability without even being around, which is very interesting and helps thin the deck. And these 2 cards kind of work together, Parsec the Interstellar Dragon and Schwarzschild Limit Dragon. Both of these kind of help towards the rank 8 Xyz play. I think Parsec, let's see. Parsec uses a normal summon, so not the best there, but then Schwarzschild Limit Dragon is a special summon. As long as your opponent has a monster with 2,000 or more attack, you special summon this. So it could be used in conjunction for a level 8, a rank 8, I mean. Move on to Noble Knight Ector, as I mentioned before. This could be useful because the Noble Knight monsters are pretty much unused once they're dead. You reuse the spells, the equip spells, but the monsters are pretty much useless. So you could pretty much use an untapped resource in the deck and play Ector. This could be an alternative to the Ignoble Knight of Blacklord Salin. To rank 5, and then the monsters Xyz summon can't be disrupted, so you don't really need a Forbidden Lance, for example. Noble Knight Ivy Ann, level 4. If a Noble Arms equip spell becomes equipped to this card, you can special summon Noble Knight Token, which is a level 4. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for Noble Knights. When this is equipped with an equip spell, all Noble Knight monsters gain 500 attack. So let's put the token out, and then you can make like a rank 4 XE summon. I think if the tokens can't be used for XE summon, that's pretty bad. It clunks up the board. But then there's a 500 attack group buff, which is interesting. And Minor Goblin Official. This is a card I had in TCG. Continuous trap card. You can only activate this when your opponent's life points are 3,000 or less, which is pretty easy in Duel Links. Inflict 250 damage to your opponent's life points for each standby phase. Annoying burn stalled card. Would have been pretty good at 500. A little bit worse at 250. Alright, so like I said before, this deck has a lot of the URs and SRs being really good. The Rs and Ns aren't that remarkable, but the digital bugs are there. Just a lot of interesting cards that might be useful down the line. Noble Knight Ector, those rank 8 plays, Curry Vault, Mass Dragon, Star Seraph Scout for sure. So definitely if you bought this box, you're going to get these Rs and Ns. Not really a big deal. Alright, so that's it for this week. Upcoming news, Tour Guide Bingo, Crane as a new UR. 4th anniversary campaign things keep coming. Next event is Raid, Duel, Dimensional Disaster of Endora, Doom Vault. New cards, Cubic Ascension and Gundari. Tag Duel Tournament, Red Eyes Darkness Dragon and Neos Force. Late January, a new card called Stealth Bird, which isn't really good. Late January, Obtain Kaitenjo as a legendary duelist. Late January, Mission Circuit, new SR, Linear Accelerator Cannon. And mid-January, improvements to the dual screen. So that is it for the podcast. Thank you very much for the 200 episodes, of course. You can listen and subscribe to this podcast anywhere. Just search the Duel Assessment. All these notes are on the duelassessment.wordpress.com. Email me with anything at the duelassessment@gmail.com, or find me on Twitter at duel_assessment, or my other account at Green Ranger CCG. Alright, so that is it. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.